Hello everyone, welcome to the Into the Dreamscape Challenger Guide. If you're not caught up, yesterday we talked about starters, nightmares having 2 to 5 abilities, boss floors, 50 floor events, revival mechanics, ghost mechanics, and more. So if you're interested in this hardcore action-packed roguelike, go check out that video, but if you're here for the challengers, please enjoy. Otto is Chance's best friend, but don't let his size fool you, he is not the brawn, he is the brain. He's the nerd up the operation, planning out how to tackle things and hide out help while Chance and Andy go out and execute his orders. He is one of the 3 members of the Vigilantes, often using extreme force to deal with the bad people that Lady Business just won't get to. Otto has 2 abilities. His first ability is Thief Tools. This lets him switch between his other 5 abilities in his passive called Thief Hand. Whatever Thief Tools is swapped to, it will be in place of the second ability slot that is defaulted to empty, and you can switch out your 5 abilities with whatever you want. So let's talk about those 5 abilities. Thief Hand is a passive where the Thief Tool ability is stored. He has 5 of these. Quick Pull. Otto can quickly burst out a very annoying sound, forcing nightmares to target him. Vacuum Shot. He can hold out his hand and fire a vacuum shot to reel in nightmares towards him. And if he does this skill check successfully, slow them down. Grapple Tool. Otto can hold out their hand and fire a grappling hook to hook onto nearby walls to speed and zip over there really fast. Clapper Trapper, where you can slap a nightmare and stun them for 2 seconds. And the Revival's Handbook, where you can revive toons as long as they have their skull. However, this does cost 50 sanity. His quirk is that these tools aren't bulletproof. They are stronger when you first use them, having low cooldowns and letting you frequently burst them out, but these tools have durabilities, so if you keep using these tools, they will break and tear and wear, and you must wait for them to be fixed over the course of the next few floors. Otto's ultimate is great. He gains access to all of his thief tools at once with 0 cooldown for the whole duration of the floor. This also fixes all of his tools if any were broken. However, he only has 1 star in his ultimate meter, meaning this is not going to be very frequent. Annie is the partner of Otto and Chance, whom is one of the 3 members of the Vigilantes, stealthing out with Otto and Chance to deal with criminals that slip past the law. Annie was a first-hand witness seeing Lady B instruct Chance to terminate an innocent family, helping him get away and steal Lady B's supersuit, as that was not something they would ever do. Unfortunately, Lady B's reputation is still strong. To this day, they haven't managed to take her down. She's an evil that cannot be stopped. But some may claim that Annie, Chance, and Otto still go too far with the criminals they deal with. Killing them in cold blood only makes them look crueler. Annie is a very simple toon compared to the rest of the cast. Her first ability is Stealth Mission. When activated, this toon is untargetable and goes 4 times faster. However, in this mode, they drain 4 times more stamina. It can be toggled on and off, but the 20-second cooldown does apply once you turn back into your regular form. Their second ability is their Whirlwind device. If they spin 3 times in a circle, it creates a whirlwind, granting anyone who steps through it Stamina 1, which is a 10% boost in stamina. Their quirk is that they have a shield. They're a gecko, so when they're hit, their tail falls off. Instead of taking damage, this tail will drop and explode, stunning any nightmare that hits Annie. She regenerates this tail every 2 floors. Her ultimate is that she goes into stealth mode for 120 seconds without the stamina drain. Punchobot is a security robot that patrols the desert. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of these robots keeping the town safe, so it's weird that the Dreamscape would specifically pick this one. Punchobot is a Tronter. A Tronter is a character who has horrible stats, lower than usual, but makes up for it with their abilities. Punchobot can knock anyone out for 60 seconds, stunning any nightmare that collides with its punch for that duration. This ability is a great utility tool to deal with that one nightmare your team just cannot handle. Punchobot also has a pretty good getaway tool considering its stats. When you're in a sticky situation for a short duration of time, Punchobot can set their speed value to 5 stars for 5 seconds. However, every time they use this ability, all of their stats decay by 10% for the duration of the floor. Punchobot has a very interesting quirk. If you use Overclock a total of 7 times, you will explode and die. However, in a short radius, will stun every nightmare nearby for 120 seconds. Use wisely. Punchobot's ultimate, however, has this weird black goo come out of its head. I wonder where that came from. Anyways, the black goo sweeps over the entire map and stuns every nightmare for 60 seconds. Rattle is the sheriff of the desert, taking her mother's place when she passed from the accident in the Punchobot factory. She was the #1 sheriff of the town, dealing with an outcasted snake named Mojab, her twin sister, raining havoc on the town. This town believes that cobras are nothing but trouble, leading to Mojab being thrown out of the desert at birth. Rattle was fighting her off, but collapsed, where we find her today. Rattle's first ability is Round Up Derby. This toon can enlarge their spike collar and summon a giant circle, trapping any nightmares in with them for a whopping 20 seconds. This gives Rattle a severe speed boost and gives the nightmare a severe slow down boost. This toon is also immune to any forms of chase sanity during this 20 seconds. Her second ability is Snake Chase. Every second a nightmare is looking at this toon, Rattle will gain a 5% speed boost, capping at 70. However, if Rattle loses all current nightmares on them, the speed boost will go away. Keep in mind, I feel like I should touch on this, that distracting isn't something you can really do in this game. This ability is more a getaway tool. However, Roundup Derby is a way to quote-unquote distract for a temporary short amount of time. Rattle's quirk is that they're unaffected by most forms of sanity thanks to the Kenai, only being affected by loss of toons, floor sanity, and chase sanity. And her ultimate allows her to shed her skin to get all of that sanity back immediately. Mary comes from the bedroom. She was there when it all started, standing right along Seam's side as toons poured in from the dreamscape. However, Mary doesn't talk about this much. She's not powerful like Sheen, she's just an ordinary toon, and she's weirdly strange about how she talks about the dreamscape. She never wants to talk about it and always shuts people down when they bring it up. Mary is a Taunter, just like Punchobot. Her first ability allows her to shoot a giant laser beam in the sky, stunning all nightmares for 2.5 seconds and giving them slowness for 5 seconds. This is a really good ability and it has 0 cooldown. However, every time you use it, you will lose a star in a randomized stat, meaning you don't want to spam this ability, otherwise you'll be a 1-1-1-1-1 statted toon with no way to defend themselves. Their second ability allows them to regain 1 star at the end of each floor. This has a cap of 21, but you can hoard these or use them, it's up to you. Their quirk is pretty bad compared to the rest of the toons. Their quirk is that they always have 1 HP. No matter what they do, they will be at 1 HP. So you gotta be extremely careful as this toon. People can revive you, but you have 1 HP. Molly's ultimate is a super laser. It's just an enhanced version of your base laser. It stuns everyone for 15 seconds and gives them a slowness debuff for 30 seconds. Snuffles comes from Bedroom. They are dust bunnies that Dreamskipper's dog, Snuffles, leaves around. At first, nothing happened, but they started clumping and forming until Snuffles started appearing everywhere. It's unsure why Dreamscape gave life to some floof balls, but regardless, Snuffles lies here today. Snuffles is a Taunter, but unlike Molly and Punchobot, where they stay kind of mediocre for a while with really strong abilities, Snuffles can become really strong. Randomly around each floor will be floof balls. Once you collected around 10, you will gain a Snuffles. This boosts your speed, extraction, and skill check by 1 star and gives you an extra heart. However, if you get hurt, one of the dogs runs away and poofs into a cloud of smoke. This toon can throw one of its dogs as a straightforward projectile, exploding in a short radius, granting anything within it a slowness debuff of 50% for 30 seconds. For 60 seconds. Their quirk is that they only have 1 HP. However, unlike Molly, instead of dying, you will simply turn back into a floof ball, and one of your teammates will need to save you. However, if you're alone, or if everyone is dead, you will just die. Their ultimate is simple. They reach the maximum amount of Snuffles immediately. 4 to be exact. Hare was Badger's best friend, often helping her collect every badge, even if it meant falling behind. One day she ventured into Vale Forest and was captured by the king. The king pleaded for her to rewind time for him just one more time, but this created a paradox, and Hare was sucked into it, where we find her today. Hare is an extractor. They have 5-star skill check and 3-star extraction speed. 3-star extraction speed is a little on the low end, but they make up for it with their upcoming abilities. Hare can unwind a machine, permanently giving them a plus 50 extraction boost for the rest of the floor. They can do this up to 2 times, capping at 100% boosted power. Alternatively, she can also rewind a nightmare 5 seconds to their previous position. Hare's secondary ability allows them to gain extraction per machine completed, 8% to be exact. This goes over the cap of 100. So your true cap is 150, but just keep that in mind that the 100 cap from earlier is only the cap for that ability. Hare also has a pretty bad quirk. If they fail a machine, their extraction gets set to 0. So under no circumstances do you ever want to fail a machine. However, their ultimate is pretty good. Her ultimate allows her to unwind 2 random machines on the map and instantly get 300% extraction for the remaining parts of the floor. Meet Mochi. Mochi was one of the few people who dared to defy Perfect. She was one of the strongest people in the Space Force, a group of people who saved victims from Perfect, removing graded masks and dopamine chips from people's head in hopes of restoring them back to normal. Mochi has a very interesting ability. They have the longest cooldown in the game. However, they can copy and transform into a toon for 20 seconds. In this state, the transformed state can use any of the abilities they just transformed into immediately. They will all be set to 0 seconds cooldown before transforming back into the toon after the transformation is over. Mochi's second ability has a slime trail follow them that, when stepped in, sharply increases anyone's stealth. If you're wanting to hide from a nightmare or not get spotted over another toon, you can quickly step in this stealth patch to avoid that from ever happening. Mochi's quirk is that any negative status effects Mochi gets during any floor will immediately turn positive. So if they get a negative extraction boost, that extraction boost will turn positive, etc., etc. And their ultimate turns every single nightmare on that floor into Nightmare Mochi. Dealer was a victim of Perfect, sitting on the remains of his planet, hiding from ships that are trying to take him in. He used to work with his wife down at the remains, and he still does, but sadly, she has a dopamine chip in her head, and she has never been the same since. Dealer is a very interesting toon. Dealer can boost any stat at any time to any toon. If there's not a toon in radius, he boosts himself, but if there is a toon in radius, he boosts that toon. He draws 5 cards, and based on the strength of that deck, say like a full house for example would be the strongest, is the higher percentage you get for that boost. So if I select speed, I roll 5 cards and I get a full house, you will get a 100% speed boost. But if I draw and I only get a pair, I'll only get like a 7% speed boost. He can do this every 10 seconds, meaning he can consistently buff whoever and wherever he wants, at least a little bit throughout the floor, with the occasional lucky stride of being a massive boost. Dealer's second ability allows him to exchange his coins, money you find on the ground, for chips. Chips are his currency, and when toons walk up to Dealer, they can buy stuff from him for chips in a pre-made shop. However, Dealer needs to make sure he actually has enough chips for the toons so they can buy whatever items they'd like. Toons can also get their own chips through gambling with Dealer, hence his first ability of drawing cards.